hopefully. So, recording this off my phone because I'm all packed, pretty much to go to Monster Palooza. But I literally just got done watching Slanted. I wrote some notes. Not that it was bad, but it was a lot to talk about. And so, Slanted is a movie about like a teenage Asian girl who pretty much wants to be white, and she kind of substance wise or reverse get out gets to be white, and then that's kind of like her life. um so that's what the movie is about, and I really like this movie because it hits a lot on like, what it is to be like Asian American, especially like East Asian American. um and also like the microaggressions that a lot of East Asians deal with, and also the fact that it's like, I guess you would say like the grass is always greener type of shit. Also, this movie does get like ridiculous towards the end, but it's kind of like whatever, because by the time it gets like really ridiculous, you've got like 10-15 minutes left, and you were already there the entire ride, so it doesn't matter. But I'll go into spoilers in a second. But like I said, I enjoyed this movie to a degree. It hits close to home. Not that I wanted to be white, but as a Chinese American, understanding like how it is like day to day going to school, how it was different, that kind of stuff. A couple other things I'll touch upon. Um, but yeah, of course, and not the race thing. No, no, no. I was going through my own thing because as a forever fat kid, I was going through that. Plus, this whole, what's this gender thing I'm going through, so I was going through a lot of things. So race was not really like the biggest issue thing I was going through. But anyway, I guess spoilers, 1, 2, 3 spoilers. So going down it. So um she's like really young. I think it was like 2015. It said that they moved to America. I don't know where they moved to because it was like it's February, but it's like it's still nice out. I think this movie was filmed in like Atlanta or something, so I'm thinking that because it didn't feel West Coast enough to a degree. I don't know, like because like where they lived, it was a lot more guns, like gun stores. I mean, granted, where I live, they're like here and there, but this is very. It has like a Midwest feel, but it also could be like southern East Coast states, like the Carolinas or something. Anyway, I don't fucking know. Maybe they stated it in the movie and I missed it. Anyway, um, so in the movie, like you see that the little girl, like I said, she's obviously Chinese American. But yeah, so as a little kid, like I said, the lunchbox comes into play a little later in the movie, but of course, like she eats her lunch, and people are like, "Ew, that's weird," because she has like chicken feet and rice and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I was never sent the traditional food to school because my parents were very much like assimilate, like I know like with the bright hair now, but at the time they were like the very Asian parent thing, which is like don't make waves, like the whole, what was it, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down kind of shit. They're like, so they're like, let's not, let's Americanize you as much as possible, so they're like, just, we're gonna give you a tuna sandwich, maybe a little bag of chips, and a juice box. We're gonna do that. They weren't gonna send me with the traditional food kind of stuff. Anyway, but there's that word like, oh, that's weird, the food smells funny, and the kids like, stop sitting near her. And then in the evening they go to pick up the dad, and he's a janitor, and immediately I'm like, ugh, life, because my dad was like a janitor, housekeeper, porter guy, for like as long as I knew that old man, so I was already like, oh god, no. I was like, ugh, is this one of the cases where it feels too close to home and I'm gonna have to like pause the movie and just take a walk or something? But no, I mean, it was just that. So she's like, the dad was being a janitor in high school, so she goes, and apparently it's prom, and she sees like prom, and she sees all these like lovely white people, very blonde, Aryan looking girls, and she's just like, I want that one day. And I'm like, I don't know. And again, like, I guess it's the thing where like as an adult you're like, okay, name your prom queen and king. As an adult, you adult, name your prom queen and king. Of course, we don't know who the fuck it is, right? Unless it's someone you ultrally hated, or it was yourself. I don't think you remember. I didn't go to prom. So who gives a shit? You know? Like, I don't give a shit. But again, I get it. Like when you're in that teenage mindset, you're like, dude, all these little like things like this is really important and this is really important. When it's like, it don't matter. No one give a fuck. Like you ain't going into college or your future job being like, I was prom queen, I was prom king. Like no one gives a shit. No one gives a fucking shit. Anyway, so she wants that, right? She's like, that's my life. I want that. So you see her older and she has like the clothespin on her nose to give her like that kind of, more Western style nose thing. Look at my face is already so different just doing that. I've done a nose prosthetic on myself. I think like the first time I did my M Bison costume, I gave myself like, like the very like broad nose and like a chin, like an actual chin and not whatever this little poop is. And I remember my face completely changed seeing that. Like I had what's her name, Jennifer or something, she was in Dirty Dancing and then she got the nose job and then like all her work dried up because she looked like completely different. I mean she's still in stuff now, but it's not, you don't know her as the Dirty Dancing Ferris Bueller sister thing. Anyway, so she's doing that, and then there's a popular girl in school who's like, hey guys, so just so you know, I book like a show and or show or a movie, and like I'm so popular, I'm so white, I'm so this, oh my god, I'm so famous, da da da, and so I'm not gonna be able to participate being prom queen, da da da. And she's like, the main girl's like, oh my god, it's my chance. What? It's so dumb. It's like the concept of that is dumb, but you have to like look at it in that way. But it's also like I went to high school in like the early 2000s, so like again, it like social media was barely a thing. I think like MySpace came about in like the last 2 years. I was in high school, and when I hit college, Facebook became a thing, and like I had a MySpace for like I think 6 to 8 months max, and then I deleted it once I learned other people in school knew about the website, and I was like, oh no, they can't find me, because I was being bullied a lot. Normally, I didn't want that shit to come home. You know what I mean? I didn't need cyberbullying. That happened a little bit, but like I was like, no, 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 and it sucked because my top 8 was all musicians, and it was cool because you have to like talk to them like, dude, you're really cool at guitar, like love your band, and they're like, thanks, and then I was like, had to like sadly delete it because I was like, oh, they can't find me, even though every picture, even I didn't use my real name, and every picture of me is me holding a camera, so there's a camera in front of my face. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, how would you know? Whatever. Anyway, yeah, never had a Facebook, all that shit. So I get it. Like, as a teen in this current day and age, I guess like social media stuff, all that stuff is like so important to them. Like, please. So I get it, right? I get like, again, as an adult, you look at that and you're like, that's silly. But if you're, like, a friend of mine, he has a kid who's like 19 and she's about that. She's like, oh, so-and-so didn't like my picture, or they like, and it's like, who gives a shit? My bestie don't look at most of my stuff online. I don't give a shit. We talk every day, like, but again, it's, you're at that age where you're like, anyway, what else did I write? Oh, so the main girl has a friend and she's Indian. And it's so funny because it's like, you have a fellow like POC friend and you're still like, I gotta be not this, and to also play into like, her friend is like Indian, she's also fairly tan, and like she's like, she's Chinese, so she's on the paler side like me, and it's like, girl, like this, you can already see like the self-hatred, and it's like it's like, why do you need to be white? Like, girl, come on, love yourself. I have a lot of self-hate, but that's different. That's different, but it's like, girl, love yourself. I don't hate being Asian. It's, what else? So yeah, like, there's like some guy in school and she's always like, and the friend is like, you ever go talk to him? And he's like, oh my God, I don't think he's like into me. And it's so funny because the actress who plays, the teenage Asian girl, she is so pretty. And then it's like, there's so many white people who want that look because she has like the higher cheekbones, you know what I mean? And like she's got the good like eyebrow to eyelid ratio. You know, like a lot of people, they get the eyebrow lift because they want, like, a lot of times with like Asian people, like my, I can't see because I didn't draw my eyebrows today, but my eyebrows are here, but whatever existing eyelid my monolid may be there, a lot of them, they get that eyebrow lift so they can have like that, you know, that separation, because normally a lot of them, like, it's like eyebrows kind of start where the eye, you know, like, but it's so funny because a lot of people get surgeries to get like Asian features but not fully Asian features, although there are like the few who like get the monolid, which is so fucking insane, you know. Like, I jokingly say that like I'm jealous of Jessica Chastain because she has like a lot of eyelid real estate, you know, but at the same time, because of having such little eyelid or lack thereof for me, I don't have to buy eyeshadow that often, and I own a lot of fucking eyeshadow. So like it's, you know, this stuff is gonna last me a lifetime, you know, type of thing. Anyway, so yeah, she's also doing a lot of like eye makeup to kind of like, I don't know, I guess shape her eyes westernly. I don't know. I know like I do a lot of makeup for costumes and stuff, and I do the whole like I'm gonna draw in a new eyelid or something, or like create like, you know, the double fold rather than the single fold, whatever shit. But like that's for the character, for a costume. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not out there being like every day, like, you know, when I do my normal eye makeup, I'm just go, fine, I have Asian eyes and I do this. But like when I do like a character, like when I do Rogue or, you know, Raven or like Ares and all that stuff, it's like, well, these are more like Western characters, so let me just, you know, do that. But I'm not like, you know, out there. I knew a girl in high school who was like, she was Korean, and she was like, oh, would you ever get the eyelid surgery? And I was like, no. She's like, really? I was thinking of, and I'm like, okay, bitch, do you? I don't give a fuck. I don't know. I don't talk to her anymore. And I think the last time I saw a picture of her through another friend, she still looks Asian. So you know what? Haha, you didn't go through with it. Because making a decision like that at 17 is stupid. Like in this movie, when, you know, so anyway, like, who cares about my life? Anyway, so her dad, you know, like I said, is a janitor, all the stuff. He also does like house cleanings. He'll go to people's houses, go to white people's houses, and cleans. And he goes, it's like this kind of like rich lady's house. Of course, the lady like answers the door, and she's like, "Oh my god!" To the girl, she's like, "You're so beautiful. You're so this." Again, the thing of like a lot of like Westerners, like, you know, want the Asian beauty, like that whole thing where it's like the Asian beauty, exotic. Your eyes are so exotic. That's what people always tell me, and I'm like, no, bitch, they don't fold the same as yours. Exotic. Anyway, it's a monolid. Anyway, so exactly, and so, you know, she's like, oh my god, you're so beautiful. Da da da. I was surprised she didn't use the term exotic. Anyway, so she goes in there, and then the white lady who the dad's cleaning the place of says like something, and the girl's like, I'm sorry, what? She goes, oh, I just went to this part. I don't know if she was saying she went to some part of China or she went to some part of Asia. She's like, isn't that where you're from? And I'm like, triggered, you know. Of course, she like shows up with like the tray with like the very Asian looking tea set, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm dead. Because like when I worked retail and I did custom framing, and people like white people would always come in with like their, I just went to whatever said Asian country art, you know, if they went to China, if they went to Japan or something, they would always look at it. And my favorites say like, can you translate that for me? What? Bitch, I was born here. Okay. I'm pretty fluent in Cantonese, but the reading, no, illiterate as fuck. You know what I mean? I know a few things. I know like exit and entrance, you know, if I have to go to the bathroom, I can see like male, female for the bathroom. You know what I mean? I can order stuff. I know what big and small is because I'm fat, you know, like food words. I don't know how to read it, but I can say, you know what I mean? I know food. Obviously, you know, when I was in Japan, I was like, damn, I'm thriving as a fat bitch who was eating a lot of food, you know? And I think, what was it? Like, I was waiting to go into a restaurant and realize I don't know how they say numbers, because I had like a printout and it said number 53. And I was like, how do you say 53 in Japanese? Because sometimes they have like the thing, you know, the thing where they have the number, but this one, she's just calling out numbers. I like put on Google Translate my phone, and I was like 53. And I was like, ah. I'm like, nothing's distinct enough. At one point, I just like held the paper in front of she was like, I think she realized, she's like, oh, you don't speak our language. Anyway, so Yeah, like people would be like, "Can you translate this thing?" And they'd be like, "You should." My favorite is when people go, "You should go back, go back." Bitch, I was born here. What do you mean go back? Go back to China. I was born here. Okay. Or like I think what was it? I was like planning on going to Japan. I mean, I had gone to Japan, but at the time I hadn't gone yet. And someone was like, some white dude was like, "Oh, well, they're not going to allow you in the country. Your hair is colored, you have facial piercings, and you have visible tattoos. They're not going to allow you in the country." And I was like, "Okay, dude, that's not the case. Okay, dude." And he's like, "I warned you. I warned you." Anyway, I like left the job. And then like a year or so later, I went to Japan and I'm like going through customs and the guy was like, "How many times have you been here?" And I was like, "This is my first time." The custom guy just kind of looked at me like, "You look like one of our like animated characters. What do you mean this is your first time in our country?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I look like the antagonist's friend, the big fat bully, Yeah, the muscle, Anyway, um, I mean, I went to Japan. I was there for fucking 10 days and all that stuff. I didn't get kicked out of anywhere. Every place loved me, bitch. Anyway, so, um, anyways, like I said, so with this movie, so at one point like the dad broke something and the woman like was doing like a namaste kind of like prayer thing, meditation thing, and then she goes, "Okay, it's fine." It was like, "Okay, lady." Oh, so then the main character goes and like dyes her hair blonde, just straight out the bottle, bloop 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 bloop. And I was like, "That's gonna come out blotchy." I mean, I just recently redid my hair. Don't look at it too hard. It's not the best. Don't look at it too. Don't stop it. Don't look at it too hard. I do it. Don't look at. Stop it. I mean, the blue looks great. That's why I put color on it, because if this was just blonde, this would be a disaster. Also, I don't want to be blonde. I want to have funky colors. Anyway, so yeah, she dyes her blonde. She comes out, there's like a deep root, like you just like 2 inches of like black right there. It's like kind of light blonde and then it's like brassy blonde, because again she went like that. Her parents are like, "Oh, that's nice." And she's all like, "Happy New Year." Also, I feel like she said Happy Lunar New Year, and it's like, ooh, because like most Chinese people say it's Chinese New Year. And then other like East Asians, they call it Lunar New Year. It's kind of like a Christmas versus Happy Holidays type of shit. Not exactly, but it's easier to explain that way. And for her to say Lunar New Year, again, I don't know if that was on purpose in the script. It was like, "Oh, you are trying to like, again, step away from your culture and your background and all that stuff." It was like, okay. She goes to school, and of course like the popular girl like thought she was one of the other blondes, very like Mean Girls type of thing. We're like, "Oh, all of us blondes stick together." And she's like, "Oh my god, I thought you're someone else," right? So then later in the day, she's in class, she's like, "Hey, actually, do you want to go get our nails done later?" And I was like, "Racist nails, Asian." She meets up at the nail place, and I was immediately like, "Oh, this is so familiar to me." So she's like, "Oh, can you like you know how to speak Mandarin, right?" And the girl's like, "Yeah, a little. I'm not really fluent." But girl, you ain't fluent. You from there, right? And so the girl, like the main girl, is like, "Hey, she wants the gel set, da da da." And she's like, and the lady behind the counter was like, "It's $100." And then the girl's like, "Isn't there like a locals discount?" And the lady behind the counter was like, "Yeah, local to like our part of China kind of stuff." And so she was pretty much saying like, "You Asian girl with the blonde hair, you can get the discount, but not these bitches." Apparently, like it seems like they allowed it because the girl's kind of like, "Please, da da da," because then you see them getting their nails done. So sure, that happened to me. I was in college and I knew this girl, big old weeb, and I kept her at arm's length because she was a fucking weeb. I'm not the biggest fan of weebs because of, as I will, show example. So, like, the similar thing happened. This girl wanted me, like, it was like almost every weekend. They're like, "Let's go to Chinatown," and I was like, "Dude, I don't even go to Chinatown like that." Like nowadays, I go to Chinatown with my mom like every 3 to 6 months or something, whatever, right? Like we don't even go to Chinatown like that, even though we Chinese and we love to support our own people. But even then, we're like, we don't even go to Chinatown like that. And so in school, obviously we were closer to Chinatown, but even then, it's like I don't want to fucking be going all the time. Okay, so I remember I went with them like twice, and then I just like made up excuses like I can't go or whatever. And then funny enough, I was meeting with my mom in Chinatown for lunch because I was like I'm not dealing with these white girls. So they pretty much wanted me to go like all the stores with the trinkets and stuff. They claimed because it's this one girl, but she had a couple friends who came along with us, these weebs. They claimed that when I would go with them into these stores, they would get discounts. I don't know what shit she was smoking, but that's not the case because with my people, they don't see me as one of them because of you know like I'm not, I'm not one of them, even though I'm one of them. Like, there's been times where I'll speak to them in Cantonese and they'll just reply to me in English. It's their way of being like, I will not respond to you in the language you just spoke to me in because you are not one of us. So, yeah, okay, girl. Yeah, you got discounts on your freaking, bootleg Death Note figures, okay? Have at it, fucking hoss. Anyway, any fucking way. Yeah, just stay the fuck away from me. Anyway, so yeah, that's what the movie is. And then so when they get out the nail thing, pretty much everyone just like leaves her, and she's been getting these like messages from this uh this account that like makes a filter where like it changes your ethnicity. And so they're kind of like, hey, we're right there in the barber shop or whatever. Like, come on by. Like, you're the 0.001% people who like use our filter a lot. That's a problem, because she posts her like sells as like a and like an Aryan girl, and it's like blonde, blue eyed. It's like, oh, girl, so much self hate. Anyway, so she freaking goes in, and it's like a white doctor and a white receptionist, and they're kind of like, hey, we want you to be, do this thing, I think they said like it's not gonna cost anything or whatever, and so they're like, well, one, we'll just do like hair transplant, so your hair will forever be beautiful and fun. So like in it was crazy because they have like they show like them literally like pulling her hair out and then like sticking like blonde hair. It was crazy. So she walks out with more like golden blonde rather than like bottle bleached, like burnt ends, type of blonde. And of course, like, she gets home and her mom was like, hair looks a little different. And she's like, oh, it's fine, mom, whatever. And she's just so much self-hate. And again, this is very true with a lot of Asian people, a lot of East Asian people. Again, they get the eyelid surgery, they get the nose surgery, they do their hair, that they marry a white guy, and then they find out, he was part of January 6th, and they're like, I can't believe it. What the fuck? Girl. Ooh, the amount of shit I got when I posted about that on January 6th. But anyway, what else is there? So yeah, so like the situation of so they learn that it's this company that kind of does like reverse Get Out, it's Get Out, where it's all these white people like inside black bodies. This is like your every other race inside a white body kind of stuff, whereas I was in Get Out, they like switched your brain kind of thing. In this one, it's just kind of like cosmetic procedure type of shit. Like they put the white on top. You know what I mean? They frost, yeah, they did the frosting, kind of thing. So it's like that. So she gets her hair done, then she like lies to her mom and be like, can you sign this for a school trip? Mom signs it. It's a consent form. So she can like finish going through the process, which is just like, oh my God. Because she's underage. And mind you, like, so the lunchbox thing. So she still takes her lunch to school every day, but she gives it to her Indian friend to eat, and she's like, this is so good. And it's like, come on, girl, why can't you appreciate your shit like your friend? Like, come on. Again, easier said than done. And then she takes the money that her friend gives her for it, and then gets like regular, boring school lunch. Like, I mean, I think my parents stopped making me lunch because I was just like, can we not do a tuna thing? It's so funny because back then I was like, I'm tired of the tuna sandwich stuff. And then now everywhere I go, I buy a tuna sandwich. So, Also, I had stopped eating meat. So, like, my parents were like, I don't know what you want. They're like, we don't know what to do for you. So, and I just, like, went to school and just bought, like, fries and, like, maybe a salad, most likely pizza because fat kid. Um, anyway, so yeah, like she like she finally goes through the entire procedure and becomes white, and that's played by McKenna Grace, who's like in everything, you know. And so she goes to school as like a different girl, and of course she's no like her character's name is Joe, which I'm like, oh come on man, why you gotta pick my name? Granted, her previous name was Joan, which a lot of people think that's my name, and that ain't it, you know. But yeah, so they're like, oh, you know, oh, her name is Joe and da da da. So a lot of the movie was Joe this. I'm like, that ain't me. That ain't me. You know, I ain't that bitch. That's not me. Anyway, so of course, you know, oh my god, Mean Girls were like, we want you to be part of our friend group for reasons, you know? And it's like so creepy because suddenly it's like, another blonde, thank you. And they do this thing where they eat salad and they're all in these specific bowls they all have, and and it's so like Invasion of the Body Snatchers slash the Faculty, which is a different form of Invasion of Body Snatchers, but you know what I mean, where it's just so like they like open the lid to the bowl, like drizzle the little thing of dressing, and then they close it, and then they shake it up all at the same time. Even the boys, shake it, and they're like salad. There's no protein in it, no cheese, no shrimp, no chicken, no bacon bits on that. No, not a tomato, a cucumber. You know what I mean? Even maybe some fucking carrots in it. Like none of that shit. No, just lettuce. Also like very dark green, like lettuce type of. Anyway, it doesn't matter about that, but it's also like very like, oh, are we like? Does this movie tell me they're aliens at the end? Anyway, so that's it. They have that, and also, oh, before that, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. When she was getting the procedure done to be white, it was like loading up karaoke songs. So first of all, very Asian karaoke song, and it's like a song that it's like, it's good to be white, it's good to be white, and I'm like, oh my, very funny. I love that obviously hit the nail on the head, obviously, but it was like, it's nothing bad but be white, it's good to be white, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's hilarious. Oh yeah, so oh god, the thing at the doctor's office. So it turns out the white doctor used to be like an Indian dude, and then the receptionist used to be a black woman. And it's the whole thing of like, look, now I've, you know, changed race, and like I've gotten job opportunities and people treat me better and da da da. And like to a degree, yes. Because I mean again, I'm also like weird fucking looking, and I usually kind of like dress more like alt and all that stuff. So that like a couple years ago for my birthday, I dressed as like conservative woman. You know, I had on like the like, you know, brownish reddish kind of Julia Roberts hair, you know. I dressed conservative. I had like the Christian Autumn girl like look to me, and we went to a winery, so it's like perfect setting for that, you know, because pretty much every time I went to the winery, I saw a lot of white women dressed like that, and they all gave me dirty looks. So I was like, all right, I'm taking notes on what you're wearing, and then I'm going to do the same for myself. And I went there, and I was treated so kindly. It was fucking insane. Like, I was in the bathroom. This old lady, like, had a chat with me and talked to me and all that stuff. And she was like, oh, like, she talked to me like, like she'd known me. The fuck? Normally, they'd be like, this is not the men's bathroom. And I'd be like, okay, I know I'm like really masked, and you know, I am like non-binary, but at the same time, like, damn bitch, let me into the bathroom. Like I have a full face on today. I'm actually feeling very cunt. You know, like, so like it was complete night and day, you know? I mean, I didn't go white, but I mean, I guess I went white adjacent. With my Christian Autumn girl outfit. Yeah, you do get treated differently. It is true. Again, I'm also big and loud and all that stuff, and I fucking curse all the time. So, you know, guess who's gotten in trouble at work a lot? Not my current job. They love me. But previous jobs, they're like, oh, you open your mouth too much. We don't want that. You know, anyway. So, let's see. She's white and people like her. The salad. Da, 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 da. Okay. So, of course, she comes home, and you know, her parents are like, who are you? This is the wrong house. And then, you know, she starts speaking Mandarin, and then she says like, Mom, you have a birthmark. This is your favorite CD. You know, kind of like giving clues. And they're like, what the fuck happened to you? They're like, well, like, did this procedure to look like this, and they're like, why? For obvious reasons, you know? Like, just imagine if your child one day came home just like, like, excuse me, completely different race. Like, that's fucking insane, you know? Like, girl. So of course, like, you know, her parents, like, they're not getting along very well because of her race changing and all that stuff, obviously. You know, a lot of Asian parents, they bring their kids to America for like better opportunities, you know, that kind of stuff. But they want you to assimilate, but they are not saying lose your background. You know, a lot of times, like, parents are like, hey, assimilate is like, okay, be like everyone else, like, be American, which, you know, but then also they're not saying like completely erase who you are. And that's what she did. And like her parents are like, we're celebrating our 10th year anniversary being in America. Anyway, your father lost his job because because you got these new freaking white friends, you decided to hold a party at that rich lady's place knowing that she wasn't going to be there, and the place got trashed. You dumb bitch. You know? And so the dad got fired because the lady goes, well, I'm firing everyone who had, like, you know, the security code into my house. Very smart of her to do that. And then it's also like, well, how you gonna, you know, like, how you gonna pay for these things? Come on, man. Like, you're living in America and you're an immigrant. But she was just like, well, I just wanted to be accepted by the whites. Like, girl, what's wrong with you? You know? And so, at the party at the rich lady's house, the girl was like, I'm nominating her, or like, was it endorsing her to be prom queen? And she's like, it's just so funny. Like, that's like the goal in this movie, is to be prom queen. It's like, oh my god, there's so much in life. It's also like, you don't even know what this girl what she wants to be when she grows up. You know what I mean? It's not like she's like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a physicist, like, you know, or even if she wants to be like a YouTuber or a streamer or something, like, you know, something like that. Like, I want to make TikToks, fine. Stupid and annoying, but fine. Like, whatever, do you. But she's just like, my goal is to fucking be prom queen. Because ever since when I was a little kid and I came to America and saw this white girl winning, like, Jesus Christ. Oh, speaking of, there's like a scene where they're walking down like a hallway in the school, and there's like these huge portraits of obviously white people, prom king and queen on either side. It's like 1998, 2000, like, as you're going down the hallway, 2001 to 2018. And it's like, that's creepy as shit. That's creepy as shit. Like, why do you have such, like, your big ass fucking like fucking dictator ass freaking remember me? There is no voting, only I. Like, the fucking crazy. Again, obviously it's used in a movie to be like exaggerating about, like, that's why she has that goal, yada yada. At the same time, it's like some schools also do weird shit like that. But yeah, so like I said, her parents are celebrating their 10th year anniversary of being in the States and all that stuff. Her and her parents aren't getting along. Her mom doesn't speak much English. She mostly speaks Chinese. But like, I speak Chinese at home. Like, let it go. But again, she's very much like speak English, we're in America. It's like, girl, no. Again, the simulation is, yes, also speak English, but like, yeah, don't lose I love being bilingual, man. I love pretending I don't know English sometimes. I have played that card before of like, oh, no speaky. Yo, I go hard with that shit. I go, oh, no speaky. It's really horrible, like, stereotypical accent. I'd be like, no speaky, just so I don't have to talk to anyone. You know, I don't know. You know, just, it's fucked up. But you know, it gets you out of situations. Anyway, so like, yeah, she yells at her mom. Well, yeah, so once, like, finds out, like, the dad got fired, right? And then the girl, like, turns to her mom and says, good, maybe learn English and then you can get a real job. That hurt me so. I was like, the fuck is wrong with you? Again, I'm a much older bitch. I'm not 17, all right? Like, 40 is right over there, you know? So, like, I'm like, how dare you? Like, your parents are working their butts off. You have a home. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know, like, I'm doing, like, the older bitch, like, if I was the older cousin kind of thing, being like, shut the fuck up. Nah, we ain't playing this game. All right? Do you have a job? No, you don't have a job. You were working your dad's job and you fucked it up. Look at that. Look what you did. What? How? Okay. No college for you. Go into workforce. Shut the fuck up. Look, your parents did all this shit to give you a better opportunity, and you're out here being like, I mean, why? Let me be why? Like, girl, you know? Anyway, so prom comes, right? Prom comes, and she's all, gold dress, all that stuff. Again, it's McKenna Grace. Oh, also, there's like, she knows at one point, like, her face was like drooping, not like stroke, but like, it's just like suddenly it's like, bleh. She goes back to the place, and they're like, here's some tape and here's some ointment. And so it's like, ooh, let me put some ointment on, and then snatch tape on. She's like, oh, fine. She goes to freaking prom. Her prom date, of course, is that the white boy that she like had an eye on, duh, because now she's part of the in group, she's part of the thing. And so, she's dancing with him, all this stuff, and he's like, oh, your face is being weird. She's like, bro. She's like, let me be right back. She goes to the bathroom, and she's all like, oh yeah, no. Then the like, oh my god, girl, she was like, oh, I'm gonna be filming, so I can't be part of prom queen, but like, oh, I somehow have some time off so I can like at least attend and be part of prom, but whatever. It's like, whatever, okay, plot. So she comes to the bathroom, sees her like that, and she goes, oh, and like immediately knows what to do. Cream, tape, snatch. And I'm like, she had it done. She had it done. Immediately, I knew she had it done. So she gets back, like, they come back out of the bathroom, and they start being like, this is for prom queen, and the winner is, of course, the main bitch who wanted to be prom queen this whole time. And so, of course, she's like, oh my god. She gets on stage, and she's like, thank you so much. And everyone, like, in the crowd is like, oh god, what's wrong with her? And a dude in the front is like, because her face is like melting kind of stuff. And then she's like, she faints. She wakes up in the girl's like house. That house is so beige, so white, so boring, so bland, all that stuff. Like what she's wearing is also beige, boring, and bland. Of course, like the dad's there, beige, boring, and bland. And then pretty much saying like her and her dad, like the girl, her and her dad had this procedure before, and they used to be Cuban. And I'm like, oh my god. And they were like, yeah, we don't talk to my mom anymore because she wouldn't get the procedure. Like, a lot of screaming. And so they're like talking to her during this conversation. They're having food, and it's like bland chicken. It's like, come on, man. You dead ass is like, oh, okay, we're gonna turn white and also do the unseasoned food. Then again, a lot of self-hate, right? You're like, oh, I want to look white, and then also eat the blandest fucking shit ever. It was literally like, here's the drumstick. It's like white, like they boiled it. Like when you're sick and you just have to, everything has to just be like boiled. When the doctor's like, no salt, no seasoning, you have to, food has to be bland, no spices. So it's just like when I would get sick, like when I was little, it'd be like white rice and, again, bland chicken. The kanji stuff. Older, I mean, I don't really get sick often now as an older person, but now I'm just like, as an older person, I'm like, I'm just gonna drink tea and scream at children, on the sidewalk. I'm joking. Anyway, or am I? Yeah, I think that's the last thing I wrote was that. So she pretty much like, she woke up and she snatched fine again, but then, the girl gets home, the main girl gets home, she realizes kind of like what she's done wrong. Like, she's like, okay, I don't want this anymore. I thought I wanted this. I don't want this anymore. Also, it's kind of like you're not going to believe what I'm telling you until you go through it kind of shit. So, she goes through it. Of course, she practically loses her friend, her one and only friend. And then, like, she sees that, like, her parents are, like, enjoying themselves, celebrating their 10th anniversary at home, all that stuff. And her face is just blah, 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 right? So, of course, her parents are, all right, let's take you back to the place. Maybe, I don't know, because as much as they say it's permanent, no refunds, no nothing, they're like, maybe there's something to be done. They get there, security is, like, escorting her out. They're like, oh, you're so ugly. Thanks. Also, it's, like, a line, like, wrapped around the corner of all, like, people of color, just wanting to get this procedure done. Jesus fucking Christ, right? And so she gets escorted out, and the guy was like, hey, you know what? Like, like pretty much being like, like that's what you wanted, that's what you get, you know, be happy. Like, you're white, be happy now, you know. And that's the part where it gets like, where it got ridiculous, where like, again, you see that girl, the girl, and how like, why did you suddenly trade in all this to be bland? Like, I get it, like, okay, fine, like, look white, you know, to get the opportunities, but to again, also like, let's have like the boring looking house and, you know, the unseasoned food. Like, oh, okay, you know. I think that's the part where like a lot of white people got really angry, because like I was looking at letterbox reviews, and what I look like in what's that called, profile pics and stuff, it seems like a lot of the white people are really upset about this movie, but at the same time, too fucking bad. Just, you know, like, you're like, I don't think this is satire. This feels regressive, and whatever, girl. Who cares? Stay mad. Um, so the movie pretty much ends with her just like in front of the mirror, just like tearing her face off, and like, I wish like that part, the body horror in that part was, you know, more. You know what I mean? It was like Brazil. You know what I mean? You know, and a lot of people called this like, they said like Mean Girls meets Substance, and yes, to a degree it is, you know. And it definitely, you know, it's an indie film, so I wasn't expecting like the full force, you know, Substance makeup, you know, budget, you know. But yeah, like I just kind of wish she just like really fucking went there, but instead it was just kind of like up, up. And then at one point she like pulls like the and then you see underneath, you saw like when it changed from McKenna to back to the Asian actress, and she pulls it, and then she sees like her monolid, and like sees her old self, and she's like, oh, kind of like, yeah, you were under there the whole time, which great. So I'm wondering if she's just gonna stay blonde because she got the hair transplant, but she's like, she's just sitting in front of the mirror like, and then the movie ends, kind of like saying like she's kind of like back to herself kind of thing, which is like, that's great. I was really hoping like that, you know, that would happen, that somehow she like would reverse back, you know what I mean. Lessons learned, all that stuff. Not I. I would never. But yeah, I was just thinking that because like I said, I enjoyed this movie. Of course, there's, like I said, more of the beginning of the movie was like, oh, this hits close to home. I see the microaggressions, like the, like, you know, the little racist sprinkles here and there from just people in general. But of course, like pretty much like once, obviously, the procedure happened when she became white. Obviously, that's when things, you know, obviously we're going a little OD. Of course it was. Like, what do you expect, right? That with this movie just gonna be like, you know, and then of course it hits like that height of like, oh, what the fuck? But by the time you hit that, like, okay, that's a little extra. The movie already is like, all right, and then we're gonna crash down, but in the sense of like, no, the character's crashing, and then and then it's like, I'm me, you know, kind of thing. So, you know, there's that. um, like I said, I enjoyed the movie. Um, like I said, I do have, as I just said, I do have criticisms on it, and you know, there could have been, what's it called? It could have been played a little differently with some stuff, but at the same time, like I think this is the writer slash director's first ever like screen like play and featured film and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, you know what? As your first thing, this is not bad. I enjoyed it. It's cool. You know. Again, as a body horror bitch, I just wish the body horror was more severe. You know, because like the procedures, again, like most of it, again, it could be budgetary because you just saw like the hair being done, but this whole thing, like it was just kind of like you don't see like any like procedure of like crazy shit getting done. It was just kind of like, all right, it's good to be wild, you know. Then all of a sudden she's like, I'm McKenna Grace, you know, kind of stuff. So anyway, that was Slanted. I'm gonna edit this, put it out before I head out to Monster Palooza. All right, bye bye.